Well, I get a lot of stick on this programme because I'm always being accused of swanning off to exotic places and having a fabulous time. So we thought we'd do something a bit closer to home this week, and believe it or not, this is quite close to my home, a few miles away. We're in good old central London. Yeah, you might see this dirty, grubby image of a London that consists of traffic fumes and homelessness and grubby buildings, but in fact we're in the heart of the West End here. We're in Regent's Park. And for me, along with Greenwich Park, this is one of not only the greatest places in London, but one of the greatest places on earth. But the reason that London is so green is that there were so many horse and carts around in London. So many people were travelling by the good old faithful horse in the old days, that there was an awful lot of waste from those horses. And it was all shovelled up into little corners, and from that we had these beautifully fertilised, if you like, open areas that became the parks. That's a great and quaint little story from the past. But on a more serious note, in fact you're probably asking by now, well, why don't we return to those days? Because if more horses mean more fertilisation and more parks, that has to be a good thing in a city centre. Only one problem. If we relied on horses in London today, instead of motor cars, we'd be 40 feet deep in manure. So let's just get it into context. And before we complain about the good old motor car polluting the atmosphere, let's think of the pollution and the mayhem that would be caused if we're all relying on the humble horse and we're all travelling by horseback. But let's get back to cars, because we're in London for the launch of this car, the new Jag. There's something so quintessentially British about it. It could only be a British car. There's no way in the world you'd climb into this and suspect for a minute that it was a German car or, God forbid, a Japanese car. This is 100% British, with a tinge of Detroit, like I said earlier, thanks to the fact that Ford own Jaguar. Like I said, it's got the V8 engine from the XK8. There were very few complaints about that engine when it was unleashed in the XK8 Sports Convertible and Coupe, about a year ago now, and there will be very few complaints about that engine, that 32 valve all alloy engine in this car. I mean, I'm having difficulty actually thinking of another car right now that I would rather be driving. If I was, I mean, this man is a danger. He's pulled over without a signal. Now he's pulled out and he's trying to do the same to the guy behind. And he's got a pile of junk, and we've got one of the best cars in the world. And we've got more to lose than him. People like that really annoy me. Not that I suffer from road rage, but I want to go back and nut him. Sorry, no, ignore that bit. Let me continue. This car is the sort of car, if I was told, sorry, there's a crisis on the other side of Europe, the other side of Britain, and you've got to get there quickly, safely, and in a relaxed kind of frame of mind. Not that that's easy when there are idiots like that on the road. I can't think of a better car in the world to do that job in. From the redesigned one-piece dashboard, to the instruments themselves, to the switch gear, to the radio controls, the air conditioning obviously, and the gear stick here. We're in the automatic version, and although it's got a sports feel to it, this car, and it is effectively a sports saloon, I'm quite happy to plonk this gear shift into drive mode. Ignore the sports button here, which gives you a slightly different setting for more sports-like driving, and just cruise. It's the sort of car that you're quite happy to cruise around in. The exterior is not as dramatically different as I thought it might be. Jaguar or Ford, you pays your money, you takes your choice. Jaguar insists that about 30% of the exterior is changed. 30% of the panels are changed in one way or another. And I couldn't point out many things on this car that look radically different from the car before. So it's very much an evolutionary development from the previous model rather than a radically different design. And of course that's no bad thing if you're an existing Jaguar owner.